everything is driven by narratives.
It's the last hope of the LPL, crushing the second to last team of the LCK.
Gen.G will never learn because they have gotten so good at it, and it's driving me nuts.
The stakes cannot be higher. This is the beginning of the end for Khan's last dance, or Faker with 5 years of an empty international trophy cabinet.
But not all stories have a fairy tale ending.
Dead on the former world champions of FPX. Their world championship run will end right now.
And here in 2021, in the quarterfinals, they will knock down C9. They will sweep aside the West, and they will advance to the semifinals.
So, when 4 stories clash in the penultimate battle, only 2 can remain. It's time we take a deep dive into Damwon and EDGs playstyles and how their opponents took both of our finalists to 5 games. Welcome to our series breakdown for the 2 semi-finals here at the World Championships in 2020-21. Now we're going to kick things off with the Damwon playstyle as we jump into this video. So let's discuss game 1 of the Damwon series versus T1. Simply put, in my notes, it says putting trust in Ghost. Now, 2021 has been a rough season for both members of the DK bot lane, but one member who has shown that they are the best in the world at what they do is Showmaker. He just pops over the wall, lands the chains, and then the Sigil of Malice onto the Jace for an easy breezy deadly flourish from Ghost, as the Defender of Tomorrow can no longer protect the future. Once T1's big carry is down, they scatter from the fight. However, Damwon love to draft these high engage comps that allow them to chase down and pivot around the Lee Sin pick that they get for themselves. This, in tow with a Maokai, gets them the very easy chase down onto the Leona, and they have nowhere to run. And as such, when the curtains open, Jin picks up his second kill of the fight, and Ghost is a very, very fed carry, meaning that Damwon can mosey on over to the Baron, pick it up, and then pick up the game, as their Jin is so fed that he is a massive threat and can just pump out insane amounts of damage in following teamfights. Now, Damwon have the style of setting up following plays by doing certain plays. They are playing essentially a game of chess. They're always one step ahead of you. As such, they set up for the Baron, and this creates another opportunity to get more kills and more gold into their carries, and as such, the Baron goes over to them, and then they inevitably win game 1. So let's transition over to EDG. The silky smooth engage style that Damwon possesses is a completely different style than what we see in the LPL squad series against Gen.G. Game 1 saw EDG play 2 different sorts of styles. Number 1 is structural destruction. They played for the towers, they destroyed them early, using the Jax to split push, and then inevitably push down onto the Nexus. That was the one style that won them the game, but the other style was essentially to bait around the Drakes. And with Soul on the table, it becomes essentially the Viper show. Now, he is known for these big burst engages on his Lucian as this sort of big carry for EDG, their superstar. Now, Gen.G know this, and they try to burst him out early, kicking him with Lee Sin into the Gwen. They look to burst out the Lucian very, very quickly. However, Gwen has dashes in her kit. She cannot match the amount of mobility tools this Lucian has, as Gale Force and a Flash takes the Lucian to a safe location, popping down a lot of damage onto Lee Sin as he goes over the wall, forcing out the status onto the Genji jungler. Now this is very easy for the rest of his squad to pick up the kill onto the status Lee Sin as Ori takes him out, and then Gwen is left on her own to be killed off. As a whole, Genji tried to play this fight correctly by isolating and killing off the main threat on EDG. However, they did not have enough damage due to the fact that the gold had gone over to EDG thanks to turret plates and killing of these structures. It made it very hard to do enough damage to these very, very fed, gold-driven carries. So, let's move over to how to actually beat these two squads. While most victories can be seen to be won in draft, you have to consider the actual map plays that win games once you have a solid lineup. As such, you kind of have to look in this game of the T1 Damwon Kia series, which is game number 3, as Kana tries to insta-gip Khan. This forces the Damwon Kia collapse come through, which is essentially a free kill on the cannon, as members from both teams come down to the bot lane and try to get the gold. Now, Damwon Kia obviously look to play for the follow-up step. As such, Ghost does not go to the fight. Instead, he pushes up mid lane, which is a reasonable idea to do because he knows that all of T1 are trying to protect Kana. However, what he doesn't expect is the roam to come out from this T1 squad, as Rise realm warps his squad up to the Baron Pit and isolate off the Damwon Kia ADC. Now, I remember stating in game 1 that Damwon Kia's bot lane has had a rough season, and you can kind of see why when they're getting picked off like this. They isolate Ghost. They then force DK to have to respond up to the top half of the map using their teleports, but it's too late. The MF dies, and just when they think they can get a kill onto Faker, let's just say that T1 have a zillion. They put the revive onto the Rise, and he walks into a sampling that was pre-placed by Beryl, allowing for the revive to come through, forcing Damwon into a scatter, and then an easy Gale Force execute comes out from Gumayushi to pick up a second kill and the Baron for T1, which then transfers the tempo that would have been in Damwon Kia's favour thanks to them pushing the mid lane and getting killed bot side into the T1 side, as they're able to get the Baron and push out the lanes, getting themselves some well needed gold and game 3 in this best of 5. So I'm saying you need to beat Damwon at their own game of chess by being one step ahead of them in their plays, or knowing exactly what they're gonna do, telegraph it and go for the future. Yeah, that's a very difficult style to do and to beat. As such, when we transition over to EDG, their style of beating them is kind of a lot easier than what we say for Damwon Kia. Now, all that we need to know is we kind of saw a failed attempt at it in game 1, where they tried to isolate and kill off Viper. Now, this guy is the sole major carry of this EDG squad, with Scout not being on the top level, I would say, at this World Championships. He's been there, he's been performing when he needs to, but he hasn't been Viper performing. So, knock out the supports from this big carry on EDG, and what do you have? A very, very easy to kill ADC. As such, what we're going to see here is Nami getting bursted out by the Renekton. This is a big thing. Once she dies, Lucian gets no more buffs, meaning Viper has no place to fight. With the bullet time executing off the Victor as well, that forces EDG bot laner into full retreat, knowing that he cannot win this fight, and he's more than willing to sacrifice the rest of his squad to stay alive and the potential of keeping this game alive. Now, what we end up seeing is Genji steamrolling through for the next 2 minutes and picking up the Nexus, picking up this game. We do end up seeing, in the end, EDG picking up this entire series because they know how to turn it on in Game 5s. As such, if this series against Damwon goes to 5 games, expect an explosive 5th game where EDG look to bite back and win the series. So, normally in these series breakdowns, I tend to do a summarization of the game or the series, as this is technically a different style of my series breakdowns, where we have 2 series colliding as such. I'm going to discuss kind of my prediction for the final, and you will get a prediction video which will summarize this a bit better. But let's just say this. I feel that the Damwon Kia style is a lot harder to read and harder to beat. They've got to the semis without dropping a single game. They dropped some against T1, but that's because T1 knows the style. They have faced Damwon Kia many times during the season, and as such, they kind of understand they need to play them at their own game. We saw that in the Damwon Kia loss in Game 3. We saw it in their other loss. As such, the transitional style that EDG has, where they use their pressure in the top lane that they garner to transfer the resources down to Viper, it works. But you need to be able to pull the trigger and isolate off Ghost and Beryl. They have been kind of the worst part of the Damwon Kia squad, and as such, if you keep that in an isolated 2v2, chances are Viper and Mako are gonna absolutely destroy Beryl and Ghost. And as such, if we end up seeing the junglers not path towards bot side, which is highly unlikely, then there is a chance EDG win this series. However, I don't think that will happen. I'm going to save my actual numbered prediction till then, but let's just say I'm on the Damwon Kia side because it is such a hard style to beat. Nonetheless, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for joining me as we broke down the 2 styles of our grand finalists at Worlds. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like down below, subscribe if you're new and if you want to. I'll see you guys for my predictions for the grand finals, I guess, and then the series breakdown. Peace out.